watching the award-winning GHS TV, Germantown Community Television, your hometown news and information station. Welcome to another edition of Germantown Community Television's award-winning Access Together series. Informative, educational, and entertaining, our diverse programming lineup offers something unique for every viewer. Whether you want to keep up with the latest community news or learn how changes in the Mid-South and beyond affect us right here at home, these local programs keep the focus on you, the citizens of Germantown. Each show is hosted by a member of the community and produced using the students and facilities of Germantown High School's nationally renowned television station, GHS TV. These programs are made possible through the combined efforts of the City of Germantown, Shelby County Schools, GHS TV, and the Germantown Community Television Foundation. If you have any questions, comments, or program ideas, write us at the address on your screen or call 754-4788. You can also email us at ghstv17@aol.com. For more information about GHS TV and our programming, visit us on the web at www.ghstv.org. Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoy the following presentation.
I'm your host, Pat Scroggs, President and CEO of the Germantown Area Chamber of Commerce. During each show, we take an inside look at the business leaders making a difference in our city. The Germantown Area Chamber of Commerce has existed for more than 39 years. Our staff, board of directors, ambassadors, and volunteers are all dedicated to creating a vibrant business environment through interactive partnerships with business, government, and community. Today in our Business Leaders segment, we will meet Dennis Schroeder, business broker with Transworld Business Advisors. And in our Difference Maker segment, we will talk with Nancy Crawford, Director of Marketing and Communication of the Better Business Bureau of the Mid-South. And in our Up Next segment, we will discuss with Andy Pouncey, Director of Economic and Community Development for the city, Germantown's Patriot Circle. All of these dedicated volunteer leaders are involved with ongoing activities of the Chamber. Join us now is Dennis Schroeder, business broker with Transworld Business Advisors. Welcome, Dennis.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure, and we were so delighted just a very short year or two ago that Transworld joined our chamber and have just stepped up and has really become a very important and integral part of our chamber group, and we're very happy with that.
Thank you.
Tell our viewers a little bit about Transworld Business Advisors.
Well, Transworld Business Advisors is a U.S. leader in the marketing and sale of businesses. And they've been in business for over 30 years. And they're headquartered in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And over the years, they've expanded through franchising and are now in 19 states. And we just started our franchise in the Memphis area in February.
Right. Well, tell me exactly then, what do you do?
What we are business brokers, and what we do is we help business owners sell their business. And we do that by helping them find buyers. We help them evaluate their business so that it can be priced reasonably. And we help them through the details of the selling process. We also can assist buyers that want to become franchisors. We have the resources to do that if they want to expand their business by becoming a franchise. And also if there's individuals that want to purchase a franchise, we have access to a number of franchises. Then we can help them select the one that's right for them.
So where actually do you do your work as far as these businesses?
Our office is at the Ridgeway Center, 5865. And I handle Germantown. But my boss, Richard Reed, who owns the franchise, his franchise covers all of western Tennessee, eastern Arkansas, and northwest Mississippi.
So it's actually just a whole Mid-South area that
Pretty
you
much so.
focus pretty much on. Well, what are the key things that you look for in a buyer or a seller?
Basically, someone who's serious in buying and selling. On the buyer side, we look for, on the seller side, we look for people who have a compelling need to sell, if they want to relocate, if they're retiring, or if they're just tired of that business and they want to get into something else. On the buyer side, we look for people who are, first of all, have the skills to run the business, and secondly, can have the financial strength to afford the business.
Right. So when you're working with these businesses, obviously you have to put a value on the business. So how do you determine that?
Yeah. Well, there's no absolute way to calculate a business. Essentially, the value of the business is what a buyer will pay and what a seller will accept.
Right. Almost like a home.
Yeah. But to get the ball rolling, there's 3 accepted methods of doing that, of evaluating a business. The first is the asset method, and you simply take the value of the asset less the liabilities, and that becomes the value.
Right.
That's not a very good method for valuing a going concern like business. The second method is the market value, and that's just like buying a home. You look for recent sales of similar type businesses and kind of extrapolate from that the value of the business. It's called using comparable sales. And the third method, which is pretty much used the most, it's the income method. And banks also lend on this method basis. And what you do is you determine what the cash flow is from the business that comes to the owner. So it's not just the earnings of the business, but if the owner gets a salary, that gets included. And then to that number, you apply what's called a multiple. And you could look at the multiple as being the number of years that the owner would recoup his investment in. So let's say a business went for $100,000. Say their earnings were, or cash flow was $100,000. You may apply a multiple to that of 1.5 to 2, which would mean it would sell for $150,000 to $200,000. And if that's what the buyer paid and all things stayed the same, the new owner would get his investment back in 1.5 to 2 years. The interesting thing about the multiple is that as the earnings go up, the multiple goes up.
Right.
So at, say, $1 million, that multiple could be 5 or 6. And the reason for that is because businesses that earn more are just worth more. They're bigger, they're more established, more stable, and there's less risk.
All right, very fascinating. Well,
and by the way,
yes.
that is a very simplified
I'm sure that is, but I needed
description of how
simplification.
to value a business.
Right, well, and the good thing is they have questions they could call you for more detailed approach. Tell me a little bit about how you would make a business more attractive to sell, and certainly in this economy.
Yeah, well, if the seller wants to sell within the next couple of months, there's not very much he can do.
Right.
But if the seller is a planner and he has an exit strategy and he's looking 3 to 5 years down the road, there are a number of things that he could do. The first that he has to understand is that thing that I just described with the multiple. It's very important to get the earnings as high as they can be. So don't be complacent. Continue to grow your business. That's number one. Secondly, the accuracy of their books and records is very important. All buyers look at financial statements. And as I said before, banks lend on the basis of the financial statements.
Right.
So if there's any doubt, clearly it'll cast doubt on the deal.
Right. Thank you, Dennis. This was a short segment, wasn't it?
It sure was.
But thank you very much for being here today. We appreciate it very, very much. We're going to take a short break. When we return, we will talk to Nancy Crawford, Director of Marketing and Communications with the Better Business Bureau of the Mid-South.
brought you quality programming. We're your hometown news and information station, Germantown Community Television. Our Access Together series puts you in touch with what's happening in Germantown, with programs that both enlighten and entertain. For hometown hosts, a hometown attitude, and a genuine concern for you, our hometown viewers, stay tuned to Channel 17 each week and weekend for a new Access program. Produced in the nation's #1 educational TV facility, the award-winning Access Together series. Only on the station that puts you first, Germantown Community Television.
Watching the award-winning GHS-TV, Germantown Community Television, your hometown news and information station.
Joining us now is Nancy Crawford, Director of Marketing and Communications with the Better Business Bureau of the Mid-South. Welcome, Nancy.
Thanks for having me.
And obviously, I think most people know what the Better Business Bureau is, the Better BBB, as we like to call you. But do you think that they possibly could suffer from an identity crisis?
Well, it's funny you ask. Most people have a vague understanding of the Better Business Bureau. They know that we're a good organization and we stand for integrity and we do something with complaints. But beyond that, people really don't know what it is we do or how we do it. We are actually a 100-year-old nonprofit organization founded by and funded by reputable businesses in our area. We are not a government agency. That's a common misconception. Right. But we don't get any tax dollars. All of our money comes from our businesses that support our efforts. There's 115 of us across the country and a few in Canada, and we all kind of roll up under the umbrella of the Council of Better Business Bureaus, which is our governing body. They tell us the operating standards for being a Better Business Bureau.
Well, why do consumers need the Better Business Bureau?
You know, Pat, there are so many choices out there today. Consumers are just overwhelmed. They don't know where to turn to get reliable, unbiased information. There's about 30 million businesses in America and hundreds of thousands of sites where people can go online and shop, and that's becoming even more and more attractive to people today. It's kind of information overload, you know. They don't really know where to turn and who to trust to get that information from.
Well, how do you help consumers make smarter buying decisions when they're dealing with various businesses?
Well, we set standards for ethical marketplace behavior, and then we monitor compliance of those standards. We help people identify the reliable businesses and the ones that are not so reliable through BBB Business Reviews, which they can access for free online or through our telephones. We offer tips and advice on everything in the marketplace, from how to choose a home improvement contractor to what you should look for in a kennel when you're looking for some place to keep your dog while you go on vacation. We have a scam source on our website that updates you with scam information about different things, scams and schemes that are going on around the country so that you won't fall victim to that. And our consumer services are free. They're available locally, nationally, in person, on the phone, and on the internet.
That's great, Nancy. Well, if I'm looking or checking on a particular business on your website, what should I look for?
Well, the first thing you want to look for is, do we have a report on the company? If a company has been operating in this area for a while, it would be rather unusual that we wouldn't have some information. So see if we have a report on them. Look at what the grade is. We rate companies from A+ through F, just like in school. A+ is the best, F is bad. So you want to look at their rating. We have about 20,000 businesses in our service area that are in our database. About half of those are rated, and about 1,000 of those have an F rating. You want to see if the company has responded to any complaints that they've gotten, because every business will get complaints. It's just the nature of the marketplace. Right. Bigger businesses tend to get more complaints simply because they touch more people. So there's more opportunity for something to go wrong or for a misunderstanding to occur. And then you want to check and see if the business is accredited. That means that they have upfront said they're going to agree to adhere to the BBB standards for ethical businesses. They're going to do the job, do it right, and take care of it if something goes wrong.
Right. Well, how often do consumers, work with you or ask you a question or turn to you for help?
Well, you may be surprised. Nationwide, about 8 million consumers go on our website across the nation and to the Canadian websites. Locally, in 2011, we responded to over 750,000 requests at our office for information on specific businesses or for information about unsolicited offers that people had gotten through the mail or through email. We gave out 150,000 rosters of businesses that are accredited. That's an instance where you need a plumber, but you don't really know a plumber and you're not sure where to go find one. So you can call the Better Business Bureau and we'll give you a list of the accredited plumbers who have pledged to treat you fairly. And we help to resolve about 6,000 complaints.
That's amazing. Well, I know you help us, find reputable businesses, but at the same time, obviously, education is a vital part of what you do. How do you help protect consumers from those scams and schemes?
Well, when we find out that there's something going on, we put out a consumer alert. It can either be an alert about a legitimate but disreputable business who's not treating their customers fairly, or it could be just a scam alert about something that it's not trying to sell you anything, they're just trying to take your money. About 30 million Americans every year are victims of some type of consumer fraud, and that number's probably very underreported because people don't want to tell you when they fell for something.
Right. Well, you certainly hear a lot about it nationally on TV. Well, what other kinds, very briefly, outreach programs does the BBB do?
We have a program called BBB Military Line that was actually started by the Better Business Bureau in Nashville to deal with scams that were targeting military personnel at Fort Campbell. Young military personnel tend to be away from home for the first time. They're making more money than they've ever made in their lives, and they don't have mom or dad there to help them say, yes, this is a good investment, or no, this is not. So we have signed a memorandum of understanding with every branch of the service to be able to go on their bases and installations and educate their young personnel about things like budgeting and planning and credit and how to use it. We offer that same program for teens and adults anywhere.
Right. Well, veterans are close to our heart, and it'll be a good segue to our next guest. And thank you very much, Nancy, for being on the show and what you do with the BBB.
Thanks for having us.
We're going to take a break, but be sure to stay with us because when we return, we will discuss in our up next segment, Patriot Circle with Andy Pouncey.
You can now watch your favorite Germantown community television shows from anywhere in the world. GHS TV is streaming online, live 24/7. A viewing screen displays our channel just like you see on television. Simply visit our website at www.ghstv.org. So log on and enjoy hometown news from anywhere in the world, only at ghstv.org. Taxi!
When you can't do it all, do what you can. Compassion for others. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
You're watching the award-winning GHS TV, Germantown Community Television, your hometown news and information station.
I'm your host, Pat Scroggs. Join us now as Andy Pouncey, Director of Economic and Community Development for the City of Germantown, is here to discuss Patriot Circle. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you, Pat.
After all these years, I'm finally getting you on my show.
That's right.
So
That's
welcome,
right.
and there's always things that you're involved in for the betterment of our community. And Now we're ready to hear about Patriot Circle, and I understand that there's a Germantown Veterans Committee that has started. So
That's
how did
right.
that originate?
Well, it originated with actually Alderman Chisholm, and he introduced the idea to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for Germantown, and they wanted to recognize, they wanted to honor, remember and celebrate our veterans, and so they asked us to put together a committee, and we've been working together for over 2 years now.
Well, that's wonderful. Tell me about the Patriot Circle and what are the committee's goals for this?
Well, we have several goals, but the one that pertains to this primarily is to leave a physical reminder to those who sacrificed so much for our country.
Right. Well, tell me about the location. The memorial's been chosen, and then what has been the process for approval?
Okay. The process for approval is when you have a typical project in Germantown, and we took it first to the Park and Recs Commission because it's in a public park, and that is Municipal Square right at City Hall. After that, we took their recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, and both of those bodies approved and told us to go. And the location was chosen because there's an area just north of the library that's been really relatively unused. So it's between the library and the Kiwanis Pavilion, right there on the road that comes by the library from Exeter.
The parking lot right now, isn't it?
Right, and it's right in the center of 4th of July activities. It's a great place.
Right. Well, I'm not sure, but tell me about, I hear about this number 5. So there's always some number, so what is the significance of that?
New to me too. I've learned a lot from the veterans, and we've been to 1 or 2 veterans organizations to review this and vet this design. But there are 5 points to the star, and the star is very important to them. There's 5 branches of service: the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard. And then there's actually, Pat, I learned 5 types of soldiers, not just the veterans, but you have veterans, you have those that are currently serving, you have the fallen, you have the combat wounded, and the POW MIA.
Right.
So each of the 5 will be mentioned here in our design.
That is so exciting. Well, explain to me the design and different elements of the area.
Okay, and we may have a graphic here to see soon, but what this is centered on is a fountain that uses sculpture, and the water reflects the sun onto the sculpture, and at night we use underwater lighting to reflect on the sculpture as well. So we have agitated water there that then falls over in a veil type fashion in front of those 5 names I mentioned. And the outside has a message in the stone about Germantown. It's primarily dedicated to the Germantown veterans, but it's open to all. We also have an area where you have bricks, and you have the opportunity to buy a brick and have your loved one who served's name on the brick. We also have opportunities for those who contribute to have their own brick as well in support. So then we have an amphitheater where a classroom of up to 50 students could sit with their teacher. The teacher could talk about the students, the veterans down in the floor, and we've even provided access for handicaps so they can overlook the area. There's the branch flags, they're lit all night. We have something I haven't seen before, and that is noting who is currently serving. Oftentimes you have no idea. And so that, and then if people want to leave some remembrance, like they do with the Vietnam Memorial, we have different, some sculptures for that too. So
This is so
very exciting.
It's very exciting. Well, what is the organization's next steps?
Well, actually, in November, we're going to have what we call World War II Patriots, an event at the Pickering Center, and we're going to really highlight the Germantown veterans, and that's really going to kick off or launch this park and this area, and we'll start trying to get our money for this project so we can get it underway.
Well, that would make me ask then, how can the public assist, and what is the hopeful completion date?
Well, the hopeful completion date is 2014, the summer. It'd be really nice to have it for the 4th of July event there. But we're gonna have opportunities of various types. Someone might want to sponsor the area where the flags are. Someone might want to sponsor the seating area, or they might want to contribute a brick to a loved one or multiple bricks. So there's a good number of opportunities to help out.
Now, are the bricks around it? I mean,
The bricks,
surrounded-
if you
or where
go
are
if
they?
you go out to this site, you'll see that the floor is in place,
Okay.
but it's just concrete right now. So that concrete will come up, and we'll put the bricks in, and we have opportunities actually up to 9,000 bricks. But a city our size, what they say will sell about close to 3,000 bricks. So we're looking for the center portion to be veterans, and then from there out, those who envelop or, you might say love the veterans and support them for what they've done.
So in other words, you would buy a brick for somebody in your family in honor of
Right.
them,
Right.
whether or not they lived in Germantown or not.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true. And it'll have their name on it, their branch of service, their rank, the years served, and if it was during a conflict like War II or Korea, Vietnam, it would list that too.
Right.
So,
Well, one real quick question then, how will this be communicated for people to contact you or about the Patriot Circle? And then real quickly.
You may reach me at 757-7273
Okay.
with questions, but we'll certainly be putting it out in the media
Great.
as well as on the city's website.
Great. Thank you, Andy, and best wishes for
Thank you.
this. We're anxious to see it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for being with us today for Chamber Matters. We appreciate our guests on today's show, Dennis Schroeder, Nancy Crawford, and Andy Pouncey. If you have questions about this or any other show on Germantown Community Television, or if you would like to watch our live stream, visit ghstv.org. You can also follow the station on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time on Chamber Matters.